We will start off with remarks from Monte McNair. Monty? Oh.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining us here again. Hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving weekend with as many loved ones as possible, or at least some FaceTime with them. Obviously, the pandemic still hangs over all our heads, and obviously, our thoughts go out to all those that are affected by it. But we've had a exciting offseason, I think, with De'Aaron extension, as well as welcoming some new free agents, re-signing some of our own, as well as adding some talent through the draft. So want to talk a little bit about those guys. Obviously, De'Aaron, talented. We're excited to see him grow into a leader for us. The potential to be a great two-way player in this league, which is something that you can build around, and we're excited to have him, kind of as our, one of the premier young guards in the league to lead us. As Tyrese, I think, adding him in the draft as a complement to De'Aaron and how we want to play, and Jemias and Robert as talented potential two-way players as well. And then in free agency, we added Hassan Whiteside, perhaps the premier shot blocker in the league, one of the best rebounders. Really excited to add his defensive versatility, as well as retaining some of our own guys, Nemanja and Daquan, who were instrumental in some of last season's success. For training camp, we've also brought in a couple big men, Frank Kaminsky and Chimezie Metu, give us some versatility, some shooting, athleticism, and excited to see what they'll bring to the floor. Overall, I think our additions, add a lot of versatility and flexibility, optionality for Coach Walton and the rest of the team, and really excited to see what they can do on the floor here in training camp. So we're excited to get the season going, and with that, I'll take any questions.
All right, we will start with James Ham.
Hey, Monty, how are you? Hello, you got me?
Can you hear Monty?
He's cutting in and out a little bit.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, just from an asset standard, retaining assets and flexibility going forward, what went into the decision to not match Bogdan Bogdanovic's offer sheet from the Atlanta Hawks?
Yeah, we got a couple days to make our decision. We really spent a lot of time analyzing it from all angles. Bogdan's obviously a very good player in this league, and was a big part of the success that the Kings had, especially towards the end of last season. Ultimately, we came back to the fact that we're trying to maintain as much flexibility as we can, and we thought that going forward, the ability to maintain that would allow us to add talent and capitalize as big opportunities came up down the road. And so ultimately, we decided not to match, and that also, I think, cleared potential extra playing time for our loaded guard spot with De'Aaron, Buddy, and adding Tyrese in the draft, as well as others. So, ultimately we decided to continue our plan of keeping flexibility and being able to capitalize down the road.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that as well. You have, it's got to be over $40 million in expiring contracts at the end of this season. Was that really one of your major objectives, is to, even the free agents you brought in, to bringing them in on short-term deals, and some of the veterans you have to, open up doors throughout this season and into the summer?
Yeah, I think that's one thing that we want to continue to do is add talent, but also maintain as much flexibility as we can. And I think we were able to do that with how our free agency ended up. And so we were patient, and I think we ended up with guys like Hassan on good deals for us, so he can both impact us as well as give us that flexibility down the road.
Sean Cunningham.
Hey, Monty, how's it going? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, wonderful, thanks. Just in free agency in general, being if this was your first one kind of captaining the ship for the Kings here, did it kind of play out how you expected? Was there a lot of unpredictability to it? How would you just kind of assess overall just the experience of doing this for the first time with the Kings?
Yeah, a first time, I guess, as the captain, but been through many of these over the years. And, I think you learn to expect the unexpected. We try to prepare for as many scenarios as we can. So, I wouldn't say that there were any surprises, and we just kind of waited to see how things would play out. We were aggressive in looking at all our options from the get-go, both in free agency and trade, and ultimately I think we landed on a few key pieces that'll really help us this year. So I think we felt pretty prepared and excited with how it ended up.
And then obviously the Fox extension around the league, and I think locally here, most people thought it was just a no-brainer and kind of a formality. Did you have kind of the same mindset going into that? Was that kind of the top priority? And if that was such the no-brainer, then what might have been your top priority that you identified coming in here?
Yeah, no, I think extending a talent like De'Aaron is always going to be one of your top priorities, and his production and youth and ability to, I think, continue to grow both as a player and a leader, made it a decision that we wanted to try to work out. We're happy we got it done for sure.
Jason Jones.
Hey, Monty, how you doing?
Hey, Jason.
Hey. In terms of the guys you're adding via free agency in the draft, what was your goal in terms of the roster makeup, in terms of lineup flexibility, and how close did you get to filling that with the guys you were able to add?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said in the past, first and foremost, we're looking for talent, and I think we got that. But we're also looking to find guys that fit our system, and especially in free agency, a little more filling needs and roles. And I think in the draft with younger guys, you're looking a little more, at their talent and less than their specific fit. Although we like the fit of those guys. In free agency, you're usually dealing with more proven, more veteran guys, and looking to plug some holes. And I think guys like Hassan and bringing back Daquan and some of the others, really fit both our style of play as well as some spots on the roster and some types of players. I think Hassan's rim protection and ability to rebound on both ends are really key for how we want to play.
And I want to follow up on Hassan. You mentioned his rim protection and ability to rebound. With so many people talking about kind of the place of a big man in today's NBA, just how big was it for you to get someone, a legit 7-footer who can do those things around the rim that maybe you saw through the playoffs, that those guys still do matter in this league?
Yeah, no, obviously we went to the other extreme in Houston, but I think what we really want is the roster versatility to be able to match up with any team or any situation. And somebody like Hassan gives us not just size, but shot blocking, finishing on offense, rebounding on both ends, and I think it'll be a good complement to the rest of the guys we have on the roster.
Matt George.
Hi, Monty. Happy belated Thanksgiving. Hopefully you had a good holiday.
Thanks, same to you.
Kind of building off of Jason's question with Hassan Whiteside, but also Frank Kaminsky, you told us in your introductory press conference that you and Luke Walton seem to agree on a faster pace of play and that kind of vision for this team. Is that still the plan? And how specifically do you see Hassan and Kaminsky fitting into that style of play?
Yeah, I think, playing with more pace is one thing we want to do, but we also want to be aggressive especially on defense. We want to space the floor. I think in Frank's case, the ability to, in some situations, play 4 out or even 5 out, gives us a different look and allows us to be aggressive, attacking the basket and trailing for threes in transition. You don't always have to be out in front of the pack to play with pace. And then, with Hassan, I think, the ability for him to protect the rim, allows us to be more aggressive on the perimeter, defensively, especially. And then offensively, even if I think Hassan has the ability to rim run, but also if he's trailing in any situation, to come down and, clean up on the offensive glass and be around the rim and be a force there. So, I think while speed is one of our goals, I think there's a lot of tenets to how we want to play stylistically that those guys help fulfill.
And then if I could sneak one more in there, specifically with Marvin Bagley, have you and Coach Walton discussed how you see him fitting in the rotation? Do you see him getting time at the 5 or more as a 4 with Whiteside, Kaminsky here?
Yeah, I think Marvin's obviously an incredible talent, but just another guy who can play in multiple situations. And so I think wherever Luke decides to use him and however he decides to implement him, I think he'll be a force, especially in transition. I think on the defensive end, I think his ability to play inside as well as switch. I think there's plenty of opportunities for how he can be utilized.
Marshall Harris.
Hey, Monty. Happy belated Thanksgiving to you. Hopefully you're doing okay. I wanted to ask you a little bit about the difference of this season compared to last season in terms of, you guys finished the season in a pandemic last year as a league. You're starting one, but without a bubble. How concerned are you, given what we've seen just over the last few days down in Santa Clara County, about just getting this season underway in the next really week plus with a preseason game in 11 days?
Yeah, no, it's been a crazy year and kind of unprecedented times. And but I think our coaches and players and staff have done a fantastic job to be as prepared as we can for whatever it comes at us. And obviously, the league did a great job with the bubble over the summer and into the fall. And now we're trying a different tack for this season. And I think all we can do is continue to be flexible, be prepared, and hit the ground running. I think our guys have done a great job of staying in shape and being ready for training camp, which opens this week. So we're excited to get going, and whatever the season throws at us, we'll be ready.
Was there any inclination on your part in terms of putting together this roster and even, looking at future possibilities of guys going down and having to be out of action for 2 weeks at a time? How much does that come into play in terms of this offseason building for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think we always want as much depth and versatility as we can, maybe even more so this year. There's certainly going to be a lot of unknowns that we're dealing with. And, I think but there's always that. And maybe if it's a little more this year, but we always want to have as many options as we can, as much depth as possible. I think you saw that in a lot of our moves this offseason, where we have guys not just that can fill in, but can fill it in multiple spots. And so I think that's always a key, and probably this year more than ever.
Tony Harvey.
Okay. Can you hear me, Coach? I'm sorry. Can you hear me, Monty? I'm sorry. Called you Coach.
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right.
I can hear
sorry. Messed around and called you Coach. But anyway, Monty, Buddy Hield, he definitely wasn't happy at the end of the season. Not with himself, not with the team, not with the organization. He's still on the roster. He's still a member of the Sacramento Kings. Is there anything that you can share with us? Of course, we hear things. We always do hear things, rumors, trade rumors flying around. But is there anything you could share about us? Is the Kings going forward with him? Or, that's just not in the mix right now? Or you just a wait and see type of thing, as the season about to start?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I've said in the past, Buddy's such an incredible talent, and especially his shooting at an elite level is something that we saw this offseason was at a premium. So, I think we're really excited to see him in this system, and obviously with Coach Walton, as well as Alvin and Rex and the system they're going to implement. I think Buddy's going to look really good in it. Excited to see him in training camp and how he can progress there. And I think I have the utmost confidence Buddy will continue to play hard every night, like he always has.
And this is my last question. Obviously, it sounds like you've been having some discussion with the Mr. Buddy Hield. Have you, and how does it sound? Is he buying in, or would you just like to leave that out?
Yeah, I've talked with Buddy as well as his agent, and I think we're all on the same page, and I think we're really excited to see Buddy, kind of let free in this system. I think he's going to be fantastic.
Jason Anderson.
Hey, Monty, good to see you today.
Hey, Jason.
Before I ask a question, would you mind just briefing us on injuries, whether everyone's healthy right now or anyone will be held out at the start of camp?
Yeah, we're obviously dealing with all the protocols, that the league has placed for us. We're working through to make sure that, that our guys are as healthy and ready as possible. And we'll, when the time comes, we'll see who's ready to go on day one or who's not. But, I think we have, a lot of guys in track one and a few in track two. And so, the testing's been going on starting Saturday, and we're excited to get the guys going this week.
Okay. Was that all COVID related? I was just referring to physical injuries. Is that something is just not the right time to address that?
Yeah, I think for the most part, our guys are healthy, but we'll see exactly what happens in the coming days.
Okay. I also wanted to ask you about, I guess, just how compressed this offseason was. I mean, here you are, first-time GM. I know you've been through this, as you said. But how different was this calendar with the end of the moratorium and the draft and free agency? How difficult was that to navigate? And also, if I can kind of piggyback on earlier stuff about the bigs, we've thought in the past that maybe you needed a stretch big, like a rim protector stretch big who could play with Marvin. Is your thinking along those lines as well, or do you have maybe a different vision for what kind of a big you want to put next to him?
Yeah, I'll tackle the last one first. I think we have a lot of bigs on the roster that can play together in different, like I said, different scenarios, and it kind of depends night in, night out what we want. And sometimes it'll be a little more shooting on the floor, and sometimes it'll be more size or more rim protection. And I think with Marvin and the rest of the bigs on our roster, we kind of have a lot of those boxes checked. It can kind of play in many different environments. So I think it's more about giving Luke all the tools and letting him choose which tools make the most sense on in any given game. And then to your first question, yeah, it was certainly a crazy option. It's been a crazy year, but I think our group and hats off to them for doing so much of the heavy lifting. But it's things we've all done before, but in a completely unprecedented environment. And so we continue to do what we know how to do, but also had to be prepared for the speed and kind of nuances that came up this year. So going straight from draft into free agency and now into the preseason with almost no break, certainly I think tested everyone, but I think we were fully prepared, and I think we did a great job. Hats off to my staff for all the work they put in, and we're excited to finally see everybody on the floor together.
Okay, thanks, Monty.
All right, last question here. Dave Mason, Deuce.
Hey, Monty, how's it going? I just had a question regarding DaQuan Jeffries. He showed some nice flashes in Stockton last year, did some nice things inside the bubble. Obviously, that was before you got here. I'm curious, just from your time evaluating him and watching him on tape, what jumped out to you about him and his versatility?
Yeah, I mean, DaQuan, somebody we had looked at in Houston as well, and I think did some great things for the Kings last year. I think I love first and foremost his toughness. Plays hard nosed on both ends of the floor, and I think we also saw his shooting, start to improve, and I think that's a key for him. But he certainly showed his toughness and versatility on defense. I think the ability to play in a switching defense as well as just lock onto a guy and shut him down is huge. And then offensively, with his athleticism, ability to run the floor, and hopefully continue to improve that shooting, could be a really impactful two-way player.
Thank you.